Hey guys, welcome back to my channel at natassiar1. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about a personal story that I have to share. I recently had gastritis, and on today's episode, I want to share, how I healed gastritis naturally. I used natural remedies. I also tried conventional medication, but it didn't work for me. So on today's episode, I'm going to show you how I healed gastritis naturally. What are some of the remedies I used, which you can try out there. Cool. Now, before we proceed any further, always remember to consult your doctor or your local GP or gut specialist before you try any natural remedies. It's in your best interest to understand what will work for you, and perhaps maybe you have allergies which may not be good for you when using these natural remedies. So please consult your doctor before trying any of the remedies I suggest on today's episode. So as I mentioned, recently I had gastritis. So a lot of people ask, well, what is gastritis? So gastritis is actually the inflammation of the lining of your stomach or your gut. What are some of the symptoms? Well, I was experiencing bloating, gas, painful gut. I mean, it's pretty much like on the top near your diaphragm. It was like a pulling sensation. It was just horrible. I literally didn't want to eat anything. The acid reflux had actually caused a lot of swelling in my throat. I mean, it was just nasty. So those are just some of the symptoms of gastritis. I also had a swollen throat. My temperature went up. I initially thought I had COVID, but through testing and getting the results, it was not COVID, but it was essentially gastritis. So the common question is, what causes gastritis? So there's a couple of factors or underlying issues. The first one is gut inflammation. So where your body has a lot of heat through many factors, either poor eating habits, eating the wrong food, underlying conditions, if you have a weak stomach. So what happens is the lining of your gut is actually damaged over time. You're not exercising, you're not eating well. And so what happens is the digestive juices actually inflame your gut. Another cause of gastritis is a bacterial infection. So one of the bacteria is actually called H. pylori. It is quite nasty and difficult to get rid of. The recent strains, according to research on Google, is that some of these bacteria are so difficult to get rid of, they're antibiotic resistant. So there's many reasons you could actually get this gastritis infection. So, I tried normal conventional medication, and personally for me, it didn't help. It was treating the symptoms and not necessarily the root causes of the infection, which for me was gut inflammation and a combination of bacteria, and also the weakness of the lining of my gut. So for me, it didn't work out. Now, typically, or the typical medication that a doctor will prescribe are antacids. So obviously, to treat the acid reflux, you get the acid juices pushing up on your esophagus. So you need to calm that down. They will prescribe an antacid. Another type of treatment is proton pump inhibitors, and pretty much they will suppress the cells that cause the acid reflux in your stomach. I tried that. I didn't get quick results, and so it pretty much deterred me. And probiotics. I mean, that's just for boosting the healthy gut bacteria in your colon and intestines, to pretty much get rid of the harmful bacteria that's in your stomach during this whole process. I tried the conventional treatment. It didn't work for me. Personally, it may work for you, but I'm going to share today what natural remedies work for me. So I was so desperate because I was going through this pain for about 2 weeks, and I actually ended up in the emergency room, and it was not a nice experience. You go for various tests. I mean, they prescribe you those medication I mentioned, and for me, it just didn't really help. So I went onto Google, and as I said, you need to always ask your doctor if these remedies are compatible with whatever medication you're taking or any illness you may have first. And I was desperate, so I said, what more do I have to lose? I'm tired of this pain, and I actually lost a lot of weight because I couldn't eat a lot of food, and this was recent, as in the last month. So that's why you guys have not seen me so active on YouTube. So I checked out a couple of reviews and I was like, wow, these products seem amazing. Let's try it out. So the first natural remedy that I found, which was absolutely amazing, and is probably my number one ranked digestive remedy, it is called Siberian pine nut oil. Now, I know people are skeptical and probably thinking, what will an oil do for your digestive gut? But trust me, this oil is phenomenal. So these pine nuts are not your normal pine nuts you will get from your local retailer that you make pesto with. So these pine nuts are from Siberia, near Russia, and what happens is these plants or trees only produce these pine nuts every 60 years. So it's a limited batch production. It is very high value, and yes, it is premium and very expensive. However, you need to use small regular dosages, and it is a powerhouse. So they cold press and cold extract the pine nuts into this beautiful oil. And what the oil does is it lines your gut. You take, in terms of dosage, you take a tablespoon 3 times a day on an empty stomach. So 30 minutes before you need to eat anything, you take it. So I was skeptical at first. I saw a lot of reviews online, people talking about colon cancer. They removed a portion of their stomach and they tried everything. They tried a conventional medication and they were just frustrated nothing was working. And a lot of them have tried it. So I said, you know what, let me try it out with the 1 tablespoon a day and let's see how it goes. So I tried it out for the first day. I have to be honest with you, it settled my stomach. So acid was really pushing up my esophagus. On the first day, I felt some stability happen in my gut. So the pain was still there, the nausea was still there, but I felt as if there was like a protective barrier between my stomach and my esophagus with the digestive juices. Day 2, around day 3, the pain had gone significantly. The instability in my stomach, like a war zone, had stabilized. And I just felt a sense of relief. I was like, look, I'm feeling better. In 2 weeks, I can now eat, and it's amazing. So what is the active ingredient in the Siberian pine nut oil? So it's pinolenoic acid, which is the active ingredient, which releases CCK. It's a compound that is needed for releasing juices in your pancreas and your intestines. It promotes digestive health. It is also antibacterial. So why it's also powerful is because I suspected I had a H. pylori infection with the bacteria. What this does is, and through many research papers and reviews online, it has destroyed the pylori inside my gut. So it kills the bacteria, especially if it's antibiotic resistant. And because it neutralized the bacteria and any parasitic infection you might have, I felt the symptoms alleviate. So it took about probably a week for me to have, condition of pain from 10 being the worst pain down to probably 3 or 4. My jaw and mouth started to feel better. The sores on my throat started to reduce. And as you can see, I'm in perfect health condition right now. I've been taking this for about 2 weeks and I feel phenomenal. So Siberian pine nut oil is amazing, guys. And for all of the skeptics out there, order a bottle, give it a shot. It may work for you, it may not. But if you're at a point where I was at, where I was in a lot of excruciating pain and I couldn't eat food and I was tired and I still needed to work full time, this oil pretty much saved my life. The next natural remedy is licorice root, right? This is a licorice root extract, which is in a liquid form. You can use a dropper. And you also get chopped licorice root herb. It's an adaptogenic herb, meaning it balances your body, which you can find in most health stores, and you can use it as a tea. So let's talk about the licorice root. Licorice root is from the licorice plant, which is found native to Canada and the United States. Now, the licorice root that I've used here is an extract, so it's a concentrated version of that plant. And what it does is it's antispasmodic. It relaxes your stomach. It relaxes your gut. My gut was going crazy. It was like a war within my stomach, and it was so hot. So this licorice root stabilized the gut, reduced the spasms that I felt a lot of cramping in my stomach, a lot of pain. It is anti-inflammatory. It is antifungal and antimicrobial and antibacterial. So it is a fantastic remedy, which I highly recommend. So the question is, how do you use this? Well, the liquid form, you can use it in your teas. You can take 10 to 15 drops 3 times a day when you have your green tea or any type of tea actually. It is fantastic. How do you use the root itself? So the root is like, the texture is like a bark, right? Like a normal root. So I take a teaspoon perhaps, put it in hot water with a tea bag to flavor it so it makes it palatable, and you can drink this 3 times a day. A lot of people ask, well, how long should you use this for? A lot of the research says you can use it long term, but probably reduce the dosage to once a day or once every 2 days or 3 times a week. But if you get a flare up, you're obviously going to increase your dosage and consult your doctor to find out what works for you, right? So licorice root is phenomenal. Okay. The next powerhouse we're going to talk about is L-glutamine. Now, L-glutamine is an amino acid. So what it is amino acids are the building blocks of your protein chains in your body, right? L-glutamine is actually one of the most abundant amino acids or protein compounds in your body. Now your gut uses L-glutamine as an energy source. Now the lining of your gut, remember I said, because your lining of your gut is so weak, you need something to rebuild the lining of the gut. Now it comes in a powdered form, as you can see. It's a white powder, and they recommend taking 3 to 5 grams a day. But if you have a severe condition like gastritis, I would recommend taking 3 portions of 3 grams to start, or 2 grams, or 5 grams, depending on the severity of your condition. Do it in the morning, lunchtime, and the afternoon. How do you take it? On an empty stomach. You take a scoop, put it in water, mix it all together, and drink that 30 minutes before you need to eat any food. Now remember, because it's protein, you don't want to have this when you've eaten something, because it's going to start competing with your stomach to digest the other proteins or foods that you may have eaten, like chicken or meat. So L-glutamine is powerful. It rebuilds your gut. I've already experienced a sense of relief. I've been using it for about a week now, because I only found out about it probably in the last week. I was reading what can I use to rebuild the gut. And I will do an update probably 3 months into the channel or through this treatment, and tell you guys, what are some of the effects that I felt. L-glutamine, will help with rebuilding the lining of your gut, improves digestive health. It is fantastic. So I highly recommend that. The last remedy that we're going to talk about is slippery elm. So slippery elm is used from the bark of a tree. It's a medicinal plant which they pretty much put into an extract, similar to the licorice root that we spoke about in terms of the drop. So they put it into a liquid form. Slippery elm is phenomenal. Apart from licorice root, it is on par with that remedy in terms of gastritis, colitis. If you have Crohn's disease, which is a severe gut long-term condition where there is no remedy or proven scientific treatment, it is antispasmodic like licorice root. It heals and soothes. I think most importantly, it soothes the gut. When I was taking slippery elm, it started just soothing the gut, which was so volatile. It had a lot of heat. It was very gassy. It was very bloated. Again, a lot of questions. How do we take slippery elm? Put it into a cup of tea. Put 5 to 10 drops 3 times a day when you have gastritis. And long term, probably do it once a day. You can mix it with your licorice root. There's no harsh interactions, and it is phenomenal. So guys, these are my top remedies if you've had gastritis. It is no joke. It is a horrible condition to go through and quite expensive. And considering that, if you have GERD with acid reflux, which is a long-term condition, you want to look for something that gives you immediate relief and really you can feel it working. So this is just my personal opinion. If you want to give these a shot, let me know if there's a remedy that you know of that maybe I missed out. Comment on my YouTube channel or on social media, follow me, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So let me know what you guys think about each of these products. And until next time, guys, thanks for joining in. Appreciate the support.